Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Profit First. And with me today, I've got Taryn Weeks from Sparkz Marketing. So, firstly, a big hello to you, Taryn.
Hi, thank you for having me.
That's all right, no problem at all. So, for those people that don't actually know who you are, what you do, what Sparkz do as well, perhaps you could give them a bit of an insight into how you help people, Taryn.
Sure. So I help businesses drive demand for their products and services. So in essence, what I do is provide strategic marketing support to small to medium-sized businesses. So providing that strategic structure to their marketing that they probably can't afford or don't want to invest in on a full-time basis when they don't need it full-time. So what does that actually mean? It means I help businesses identify who their ideal customer is. I help them differentiate themselves from their competitors, tell their stories, and hopefully help them unlock growth potential for their business.
Fantastic, good stuff. So, obviously, a lot has gone on in the wider world the last couple of years. How's the business sort of fared during the trying times that we've had back in sort of 2020, 2021?
So for me, that was kind of the catalyst for setting up the business. So I went into COVID in an employed role, always with the ambition that I wanted to set up my own marketing consultancy. And within that employed role, I had been in that contract for literally a couple of weeks and COVID hit, and I was asked to furlough 90% of my team, and then I was asked to make a restructure. And then as we came to the end of that first year of COVID, I made a decision that I wanted to leave the business, end the contract. So left and started up Sparkz Marketing. A bit of a strange time to set up a business. But during that time, I felt that marketing was key, and a lot of small businesses were suffering, and a lot of small businesses could do with having that strategic marketing support to really help them identify who they were talking to, what their messages were, and how they were going to get those messages out to their audience. So yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. It's been a lot of different clients. So my background is fast moving consumer goods, so products that you sell into supermarkets. And I thought that a lot of my clients would be in that area. So startup and scale up businesses selling to supermarkets. But it's been an eclectic mix, including bookkeepers, doggy daycare centres, cancer businesses, licensing, toy companies. It's been an array. So yeah, it's been an interesting time, but I think in a way I'm grateful to COVID and the chaos that we had for setting me on the path that I'm now on.
Fantastic. So what sort of wins have you had? What have you been your big wins since you first started then, Taryn?
So for me, I think wins are interesting because they can be defined in a number of different ways. So I was really excited to be nominated for Maidstone Businesswoman of the Year in 2023.
Well done.
Sadly I was picked to the post, but I was glad to have been nominated. And for me, I think my biggest wins come through the testimonials I receive from my clients. You know, when someone says, oh yes, I now understand how to talk to that customer, or I now can give my elevator pitch on why my business is, differentiated from my competitors, or I understand better how to speak to customers, or where I should be taking my business in terms of new products or new opportunities. So for me, they're the big wins, I think.
Good.
Um, so yeah, that's all been fun, as well
That's fine.
as
I'll cut you off there. You were going to say something else, right?
I was going to say another one of the wins for me is kind of building the network and people then coming and saying, actually, can you come and give a talk on this, or can you help some students with that? So for me, developing the talent of the future is also very important. So the more opportunities I get to kind of do that, I count those as wins as well.
Fantastic. I thought it was interesting you saying about clients helping clients develop their sort of what makes them different, how they can differentiate themselves. Because all too often I see small business owners on their website saying things like we're reliable, we're honest, we're a family run business, we're professional. Yeah, with the exception of the family run bit, maybe kind of all the things you'd expect a business to be anyway. So I'm imagining you're getting under the bonnet a little bit more and trying to find out really what makes them different, right?
Yeah, and it's, some of those are kind of great values to have, and some of them are shared values, but how do they really live those values, and how do they manifest them in everything that they do as well? And yeah, I've got one client who you would look at their business and say, you should be an e-commerce business, and they're not an e-commerce business. They have a website and they use it as a catalogue for people to see their products, but they are very much about lead generation and getting people to call in because they want to give a more personalised service. So, you know, when they talk about good customer service, that is the whole piece for them. It's about account management. It's about having that conversation. It's about getting that problem off their client's desk and them taking it on their behalf. So it's about telling those stories, evidencing it as well. So yeah, it is important.
Good. So in terms of what would you say you've learned about yourself since you first set up Sparkz then, Taryn?
So I think for me, I've always been quite an organized person, but it's about having discipline and really rigorous time management. I work on some clients on a retained basis, and I work on other clients on a project by project basis. And it's fitting in the kind of projects around the retained, and then occasionally the retained clients will want a meeting on a day that I don't conventionally work with them. So it is kind of that balancing act. For me, I think as well as time management and the discipline in how I use my time, it's also about networks. So I used to be that person that was like, oh God, networking, do I have to? And now I'm like, oh, networking, who can I meet? What can I learn? So I think embracing networking and kind of learning to love that has been important for me. And also the ability to say no.
Yeah.
So, you know, in marketing, we like to please, we like to serve, we like to be very high energetic, but yeah, occasionally you just have to say no. And I think for me, a lot of what I do is the strategic marketing, and I get people come and say, "Oh, can you come and do my Instagram post for me?" Like, no, that's not what I do. So I think it's again falls part to discipline, sticking in the swim lane, and being really kind of true about what I can do and what I can't do for my clients.
Yeah, I've noticed that actually when people first start out in business and they haven't got any clients, they can't afford to be picky. They take on a lot of stuff, and in some cases, quite rightly so, because if you haven't got any business, you've got to build from somewhere, right? But then you get to the
Exactly.
stage whereby you need to check in with yourself, like you just said, really, and think, hang on a minute, should I still be doing this? Is this something that's relevant? Is this something that's going to help me and take my business where I want to get it to? And maybe there are other people out there that can service clients in other ways that you now no longer want to because it doesn't fit within your business, and that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, again, coming back to the learnings, what I've learned is even though it's okay for me to say no, I do have opportunities to still work with that client because I've got a network and I've built a network of implementers around me. I've built a network of people who have the skill sets that I don't. So now actually part of that learning is it's okay for me to say no, but I can still kind of support that client by saying, well, I can't do that, but I'll introduce you to Kate. Kate can sort out your PPC, or I can introduce you to Rob, who's a great designer. And actually, my role in that is I can take the strategy work that we've done and make sure that through what Rob and Kate do, it continues to be implemented. So I continue to make sure that the strategic threads are running through your business, but I've now been able to kind of expand the business almost to being able to provide those peripheral services, but doing it through my network so that the client gets the right level of service from the right expert, without me having to just kind of go, no, and walk away in totality.
Good stuff. So what are your future plans then, Taryn?
So I think for me, it's about keep showing up. There are ebbs and flows with any business and any kind of, startup. So for me, I have had those times which have been troughs, but I keep showing up. I keep using that as opportunities to kind of learn. And I think to the point that I was talking about previously, yeah, I'm starting to build my network and look at how I can extend my relationships with my clients by having that almost peripheral team or building them a freelance marketing tactical delivery team, so that the client can have more of an end-to-end support. Most of my clients do not have a full-time marketeer, or if they do, it's someone who's very junior, whereas actually many of them could benefit from having more of that strategic input, being able to have that consistently kind of checked, monitored, evaluated, and have the support of some of those other services, which again they don't want a full-time head in doing, but I can do that and help them by building those satellite teams.
Lovely. And how do you sort of intend to actually hit those plans then? It's obviously you're time challenged at the moment. You're doing well for yourself. How are you going to leverage yourself better to actually get the results that you want to get for your business, Taryn?
Yeah, so I think again it's about how I sell myself and how I talk to clients from the start. So obviously most of the conversations I have is about that initial kind of marketing strategy. It's about segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and that's very much what it's about. But now I'm able to kind of extend that communication and say, well, I have got people that I can introduce you to. I have got people that can support you with copywriting or web design or PPC or SEO or those areas. So for me, it's continuing to build my network to make sure I've got those people around me who can fill in the gaps. And making sure that I'm telling my own story in that way.
Good, good. So who is your ideal customer? If your ideal customer is watching this right now, then Taryn, what do they look
Yeah.
like? What sort of role have they got? What sort of business? What sort of industry?
So I think for me, and how I answer this question now is very different to how I would have answered it when you first spoke to me, when I first started the business. So when I first started the business, I would have said, small to medium-sized businesses that are billing up to, £5 million. And when I had that conversation with some networks, a networking group, everyone said, well, that's not me. That's not of interest to me. So again, one of the ways I've diversified the business is to look at small business plans as well and small business marketing support packages that I can offer to people. So now I would say it's anyone who really feels that they're stuck with their marketing. They don't know, who their ideal client is. They don't know how to distinguish themselves. I had one client recently who said, I knew exactly who I was 10 years ago, but the business has grown, evolved, and I've taken on so many different challenges and I've diversified in so many different ways. I'm now not sure what the thread is running through my business. So part of my work was to go in and help him redefine that. But anyone who really feels that their marketing effort has plateaued and just, I suppose, feels stuck.
Great, brilliant. I think there are quite a few people like that out there at the moment, and there are a lot of people that probably are stuck and don't actually realise they're stuck as well. So anyone that's watching this, I'd urge you to have a good think about your marketing, how you come across to people, and then if you feel you need some guidance and support, reach out to Taryn. Which takes me on to my final question, Taryn, which is how can people best contact you if they need to reach you?
So with quite a unique name like Taryn, there aren't many Taryn Weeks on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is always a good place to start. I've got my website, which is www.sparkzmarketing.co.uk, and that's Sparkz spelt with a Z, or Taryn at sparkzmarketing.co.uk.
Fantastic. And with your permission, Taryn, what I'll do is I'll drop all of that contact details in the comments below, sorry. And then
That'd be great.
if people want to reach out, they're welcome to. So finally, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time, Taryn. And yeah, catch up soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries. Take care. Bye.
Bye.